This is the most confident I have been in a Sunday card all season long. I'm going to give you four best bets in this video, including a pick for Sunday Night Football between the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. In this video, one spread pick, one total, one teaser, and an anytime touchdown score. How about smashing that like button if you cashed with us on Giants +6, and drop a comment below on how wrong I was on Daniel Jones over rushing yards. Overall, we are 7-3, up 4.65 units over the last five videos on this channel, and I'm looking to stay hot this Sunday with a 4-0 sweep. If you're stumbling onto this page for the first time, welcome. My name is Peter Appel, and this channel is the home for all of my NFL picks moving forward. So if you're interested in NFL best bets all season long, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think of my plays and what you're on for Sunday's Week 4 action. I'll be sure to respond to them all, just like I always do. And just a reminder that this channel is sponsored by BetMGM. It is the perfect time to use promo code JustGridiron for a first bet offer up to $1,500. Deposit at least $10, and if you lose your first wager on BetMGM after using code JustGridiron, you'll get it all back up to $1,500 in bonus bets. However, gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. Let's get into play number one, and you're going to have to hold your nose as we travel to Houston for a divisional matchup between the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The look-ahead line for this game was Texans -5. The Jaguars were humiliated on Monday Night Football against the Bills, and after that game, the line inflated all the way up to 7. A 2-point adjustment on one terrible game is insane. But is it warranted? To be fair, it's hard to start the season much worse than the Jaguars have from a result standpoint. They went into halftime with a 17-7 lead against the Dolphins in week 1, but failed to score in the second half and ended up losing 20-17. They struggled offensively against the Browns, but the defense played well, but they did lose 18-13. It was much of the same in week 3 as the Jaguars were down 34-3 at half against the Bills and lost 47-10. The Jaguars have certainly been bad, but I think there's a few glimmers of hope heading into their week 4 matchup against the Texans. Let's be fair to the Jaguars. They've faced three well-respected defenses. The Bills, the Browns, and the Dolphins came into the year as projected top 15 defenses, and they've proven that to be the case. The Bills rank 7th in defensive EPA, the Browns rank 13th, and the Dolphins rank 17th. While the Texans do rank 14th in EPA, much of that is due to an elite performance against the 28th ranked Bears on offense. In week 1, they faced the Colts, gave up 27 points, and the defense ranked 22nd in EPA per play. Against the Bears, they were awesome, 5th in EPA per play. But then against the Vikings, they gave up 34 points and then went right back down to 22nd in EPA per play. And again, against the Bears, it's clear Shane Waldron is a terrible OC. The offensive line cannot protect Caleb Williams. Most defenses at home in primetime against a rookie QB making their second start, a lot of them would have done really well. Other than that, the Texans have kind of gotten torched. In 2023, the Jaguars played in Houston twice. One was a 31-point performance by the Jaguars offense, and the other time they scored 24 points. In 6 games against the Texans, Lawrence averages 270 yards through the air with a 60% completion percentage. Evan Ingram is out for this game, but he's only had one catch for 5 yards all year. So other than that, the Jaguars offense is a full go against a defense that they have succeeded against before. I think the Jaguars defense is also going to have some success in this one, as the Texans offense has been quietly underwhelming. They rank 21st in points per game on offense and 19th overall in EPA. Joe Mixon might play, but did not practice on Thursday. Tank Dell and Dameon Pierce are definitely out, and Nico Collins was limited in Thursday's practice. Stroud is not going to have his normal full complement of weapons in this game. The market kind of already knew that the Jaguars weren't very good. So when they got blown out by the Bills, why did we move the line 2 points? The Bills are arguably the best team in the NFL, ranking 1st in EPA per play on offense and 7th on defense. The Jags held the Dolphins to 20 points and the Browns to 18 points. And with the total sitting at 45.5 in a divisional game, they should be able to hold down the Texas offense enough to keep this game close. But what really brought me over the top, the trends to take the Jaguars are absolutely absurd. In the last 20 years, teams to lose by 30 plus points and are then underdogs of 4 points or more in their next game are 89, 50, and 3, hitting at an absurd 64% rate. We keep going. When a team is on the road and are winless between weeks 3 and 6, those teams are 119, 79, and 3, hitting at a 60% rate. CJ Stroud in general, as a favorite of 3 or more, is just 2 and 6 against the spread. We also have a ton of road divisional dog systems that everybody knows about that generally hit at a 56% rate. On top of it all, my model on Rithmm loves the Jaguars in the spot, making the Jags just 2-point underdogs. I've partnered with Rithmm. It's a new app that uses AI and data modeling to predict props and game outcomes. Their model really likes the Jaguars, again, makes them a 2-point dog. Go to the link in the description to access your 7-day free trial to Rithmm for more prop and game predictions. The Jaguars are playing for their season. And if they go 0-4, season's basically over. You're going to get the whole effort from the Jags in a divisional game where they've succeeded against their opponent before. I took the Jaguars at +7 to win 1 unit, but I would play it down to 6.5 as I don't think the line should be above 6 at all. Let's go to pick number 2, which is a 6-point teaser, which you must get at -120 or better for action. Long term, teasers, they're a losing effort if you're over -120. So make sure if you ever play teasers, make sure they're -120 or better. If not, you should just never be playing teasers. I was brought to these 2 games because of the spot for both teams. We're going to start with Jets versus Broncos. Now, the Jets are in an awesome position here. First off, Aaron Rodgers with extra rest throughout his career, monster. 31, 20, and 2 against the spread, hitting at a 61% rate. At home with extra rest, 16, 9, and 2 against the spread. Since 2021, when Rodgers has played on extended rest off a win, he is 3-0 straight up and against the spread in that next game, winning by an average of double digits. Rodgers is 15-6 in his career straight up against rookie quarterbacks, winning 7 consecutive games against rookies. And I also have to shout out the Action Network for giving me all of these trends. The cherry on top, which is one of my favorite systems ever in the NFL, is when a team wins as an outright dog of 6 or more, then as an underdog of 6 or more again. Those teams are just 24-59, hitting at a 28.9% rate. I got that system from Ralph Michaels of Wager Talk. He's great with all the systems. I highly recommend following him on Twitter. The Jets are big favorites in this game for a reason. I see a classic Aaron Rodgers game that milks the clock, and the Jets defense is just too good for Bo Nix to overcome. I think they cover the 7.5, but Sean Payton, in terms of underdog trends when he's been the coach, is very, very good. So I'm going to bring the Jets from 7.5 to 1.5. And again, this game has a low total of 39.5. I look for spots to get over key numbers when the total is below 44. So this leg of the Jets hits all my requirements. Let's get to leg number 2. The Indianapolis Colts were a 1-point favorite on the look-ahead line, but after a rough start and the Steelers being 3-0 and 3-0 against the spread, the Colts then flipped to the underdog in this game. Betting on the underdog that was initially the favorite is an excellent long-term play, going 99-71, hitting at a 58.2% rate since 2019. It's also just a good idea to fade undefeated teams against the spread after 3 straight covers. Teams like the Colts, so fading the Steelers, hit at a 55% rate. Huge, huge sample. 361 and 294 against the spread. Now, the Steelers' defense is fantastic, but the competition for them has been extremely easy. They faced Kirk Cousins when you could tell his Achilles was still bothering him. Then they faced the Broncos, and then they faced a banged-up, one-legged Justin Herbert and a Chargers offense that has been relatively quiet altogether. With a run-heavy offense for Pittsburgh, I don't see them winning with margin here, especially with a total of 40.5. I could see a close game kind of ending on a field goal, but to go over a touchdown, I'm not buying it. The Steelers crushed everybody's teaser with the Chargers last week. I'll pay to see them do that again. I think both teams actually cover the original spread, and that's the only way I take teasers. But I will tease them through key numbers of 3 and 7 to create an advantageous Wong teaser. Tease the Jets from 7.5 down to 1.5, and the Colts from +1.5 to 7.5. Now, I made this bet on Wednesday. Lines have moved. As long as you can get the Colts over a touchdown and the Jets down to less than 3, you're good with me. Let's get to pick number 3, where we go to Sunday Night Football as the Buffalo Bills take on the Baltimore Ravens. When first surveying the board, the line immediately jumped out at me. It's not the spread, it's the total. The Bills are 3-0 this season to the over, and the Ravens are 2-0-1 to the over. And a push, that 2-0-1, the push, was because of an Isaiah Likely toe tap away from going another over. These two teams are scoring points at will, and now they meet on Sunday Night Football with a very manageable total of 46.5 or 47, kind of depending on your book. The NFL is not in the business of letting games like these go over on primetime on Sunday Night Football. The look-ahead line for this game, the total was 45.5, but it opened up back 46.5 after both teams had high offensive outputs in week 3. This is a classic fade the public play, as we get a point of value because of recency bias. It's very telling that the line refuses to budge, with tons of money hitting that over since early on in the week. However, I don't just fade the public because to fade the public, the matchup has to make sense. The last 3 times Lamar Jackson faced off against Josh Allen, you'd expect it to be high scoring, right? The total number of points, when you average out the total of those 3 games, 34.67 points. The defenses know how tough this matchup is, and we've gotten the best effort from both units every single time. I expect the same sort of showing in this one, and as we talked about in our earlier picks, the Bills have an excellent defense, ranking 7th in EPA per play. The one area of concern for the Bills is their run defense, so far that ranks toward the bottom half of the league. They are number 1 in dropback EPA, and they have been especially elite at limiting the big play, and that's how you stop Lamar Jackson. I expect the Ravens to run the football, make short intermediate passes in order to move the ball. What that does is that wastes time, drains clock, and by no means does that mean the Ravens are going to be super successful. But what has shown is that if you eliminate the big play and stop Lamar on the ground, you can have a lot of success. And we also have to know that the Ravens, they haven't really faced that challenging of defenses. The Chiefs defense has been a little bit underwhelming. They rank 18th in EPA per play so far. The Raiders, 22nd in EPA, and the Cowboys, 25th in EPA. The Bills, though, they get a really tough test at an elite team at stopping the run. Baltimore is allowing just 2.8 yards per rush, which is the fewest in the NFL, and they also rank 2nd in rush EPA per play. The best run defense that the Bills have gone up against is the Dolphins, and they did score 31 points, but let's look into that a little bit. They got 7 of those 31 off a pick 6, and Tua's other 2 interceptions led to a touchdown and a field goal. There are also supposed to be 10-mile-an-hour winds in this game, which triggers a windy under situation that historically is money. 443, 294, and 7 hitting at a 60.1% hit rate when the spread is less than 10. And obviously, primetime unders clearly apply here as well. This is basically a must play. When everyone loses during the 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. slate, they will race to bet this over. And I think they're going to get the rug pulled from under them. I played the key number at 47 towards the under, but anything at 46.5, even 46 would be a play for me as long as it's above that look-ahead line of 45.5. We have to take the under on Sunday Night Football when nobody else is going to take it. But you and I watching, we're going to cash. Let's get to play number 4. My 4th and final pick is an anytime touchdown bet. Now, this is not a market that I normally dive into, not to say that I'm bad or I'm good at it. I just don't really look towards this direction. But there is one player that I've been thinking about all week that I just had to bet. It's a half unit play, and it's plus 130. Let's look at Packers versus Vikings. Talk about revenge narratives. Aaron Jones wrote an open letter to Green Bay upon his return to Lambeau. He made comments in a presser where he wants to jump when he makes the Lambeau leap. Jones had 3 1,000-yard rushing seasons for the Packers, but left after the Packers asked him to take a pay cut. And now he's 10th in rushing yards this season among all running backs. I cannot imagine that the Vikings are not going to give him opportunities to get in the end zone. And it's going to be up to him to deliver. But if there was any game to do it, it would be in Lambeau in front of those fans. Through 3 weeks, he already has 1 rushing touchdown and 1 receiving touchdown, so he can get this in multiple different ways. My guess is, though, that this anytime touchdown pick, people are going to hear about the revenge narrative. It's going to be very popular. We know how those tend to go, but I have to play it. Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown for a half unit at plus 130. 30. I absolutely love him to get in the end zone. So those are my 4 picks for Sunday week 4 action. I'm very confident in this card. I have not had a more confident Sunday card all season long. Doesn't mean go hammer it. You see, I'm still risking to win 1 unit, but the vibes feel good. So if you're feeling those vibes, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Let's cash together and turn on post notifications as my Monday Night Football video will be out soon. Thank you, and why not us?